Hello and welcome to my channel. If you haven't heard before that DNS can be the cause of 90% of the issues that you will encounter as an IT professional, I'm telling you, sometimes it can. In this video, you'll learn how to use NSLOOKUP, a powerful built-in Windows tool for querying domain name system or DNS. Whether you are troubleshooting network issues, verifying DNS records, or checking domain configurations, NSLOOKUP is a must-have in any IT professional's toolkit. Let's dive in. NSLOOKUP stands for Name Server Lookup. It is a command line tool available on Windows, macOS, and Linux, and lets you query DNS server for information about host names, IP addresses, and DNS records. For the sake of time, I have a command prompt Windows open here where we will be showing all the examples in this video. Let's start with a simple example, resolving a domain to its IP address. As you can see, it resolved to multiple addresses. You will see an IPv6 and an IPv4 address here. Also, it will show you the server that was used for the DNS lookup. This is great for verifying basic DNS resolution, as well as the server that's being used for that resolution. Now, let's reverse the process. If you have an IP address, you can find which domain it resolves to. For example, this is a Google domain IP. Let's see what it resolves to. As you can see, it resolves to dns.google.com. And this is what's called a PTR record or pointer record. It's commonly used in email and networking logging systems. As you've seen so far, by default, NSLOOKUP uses your system's configured DNS server, but you can specify another one to test alternate resolution paths. So let's give it a try to that. So as you can see here, the resolution is different to the one we had before when we were issuing this query with our local server. In this case, we're sending the query to the Cloudflare DNS resolution servers. This is very helpful when you are checking propagation or potential ISP filtering issues. Now let's explore the interactive mode of NSLOOKUP. To access it, you just type NSLOOKUP, hit enter, and you'll be in the interactive mode. In there, the most important command is question mark, which is the help command. That's the most important command in every tool that you use. In here, you can see the parameters that you can set up in NSLOOKUP. Also, in the interactive mode, you can run several queries without leaving the interactive mode. Let's exit it so we have a clean slate. Alright, so let's run a couple of examples here. First, let's set the type of record that we want to look up. In this case, we'll run the most used one, which is the A record or address record. We will say that the server that we want to ask or we want to query is going to be, again, the Cloudflare one, which is 1.1.1. And then from there, we will query Microsoft.com. So as you can see here, the A response for or address response for Microsoft.com shows here. This is IPv4. And then let's look up a MX type of record, which is associated with emails, domains, configurations. We query it again. And as you can see, the response is way different to the response that we had before. This is because MX type of record is different to the A type of record. The MX type of record will show you what servers are responsible for email handling for Microsoft.com. Each DNS record types gives insight into different parts of domains configuration. Now let's take a look at some other type of records that we can query from NSLOOKUP. So we're going to use again Cloudflare just because it is a good domain server. Then from there, let's check, for example, set type name server type of record, and let's query Microsoft.com. You can see here the name servers for Microsoft.com. Now let's take a look at TXT records. This one's going to be an extensive one, but let's query Microsoft.com. As you can see, you have a lot of TXT records, and TXT records are used for a variety of things. So this way out of scope for this video. Now let's do type of record, start of authority, and Microsoft.com again. This is the record that defines parameters for the zone. Zone being the Microsoft.com domain, like the time to leave, when the version that you're looking at expires, and some other parameters. And lastly, let's take a look at the type of record for A, which is, this is the same as the address record, but in this case is for IPv6. So we should get the IPv6 information for Microsoft.com while we query this type of record. Let's query it, and there you are. So you have the same resolution, just in this case you're getting IPv6 addresses. I want to touch on a little bit more on TXT records, because these records are very important to establish ownership of the domain, authentication of the domain, and email security. So this is a type of record that you will see a lot when you're working with NSLOOKUP. Now, in regards to real-world scenarios where you will use NSLOOKUP while troubleshooting, we have several of them. Mostly you will have DNS propagation check. For example, you set up a website and then you set up the DNS record, and then someone in Thailand cannot see your website. That could be associated to a problem in propagation of your DNS. That would be an example that you will use NSLOOKUP for. Email delivery issues, for example, MX records is something you can check when there is certain domain that it's having issues to receive or send emails. VPN DNS leak testing, for example, you can check what DNS servers are being used when you connect to your company's or personal VPN server. You can then from there see if you're receiving the right queries or the right responses to your queries while connected to your VPN. Domain hijacking or redirection. This is a big one, especially if you go to an airport or someone else public where you're using the public Wi-Fi. If by any chance you connect to a bad actor's Wi-Fi, the first thing that they will do is they present you a DNS that is not real and will redirect your traffic. Like, for example, your bank.com. It will change your bank.com IP address to one of their own IP addresses, and then once you enter your credentials there, you're toasted. If you found this video helpful, like and subscribe for more tutorials like this one. Drop your questions or use cases in the comments, and I would like to hear how are you using NSLOOKUP in the field. See you in the next video.